Yes. Where are we going? We're going on a road trip.
Make sure my phone is all off.
Taking a plate from him. He's passing it off to him.
I don't think he knows how to get in. Operate this thing.
We now call to order the June 12, 2025 meeting of the South Carolina Public Charter School District Board. I'd like to ask Stephen Gilchrist to lead us in our invocation.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Let us pray. Lord, we thank you for bringing us together today. We ask for your guidance, wisdom, and discernment as we discuss and make decisions for the good of our students, staff, and our community. Fill our hearts with humility, patience, and collaboration, and bless our efforts and help us to serve with integrity and compassion. May our work be aligned with your purpose, for it is in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
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 Amen. Thank you. Pledge of Allegiance, Kip.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Now I will read our position and mission statements. Position statement. The South Carolina Public Charter School District embraces its state-appointed role as the distinct authorizer of public charter schools statewide. And our mission statement. The South Carolina Public Charter School District authorizes, supports, and champions innovative K-12 public charter schools, ensuring quality educational opportunities for parents and academic excellence for students, so every South Carolina child can reach their highest potential. Thank you. Now I will call on our board secretary to take the roll.
Jonathan Butcher.
Here.
Dexter W.J. Davis. Here. Stephen Gilchrist.
I'm here.
Kit Miller.
Here.
Madam Chair.
Here.
Greg Plant. Dr. Teresa Pope.
Here.
Dr. Billy Strickland.
Here.
All here. Thank you. We will move on to item 6, consent agenda. We take these two things separately. A, the approval of the agenda for today's meeting, June 12, 2025. We need a motion and a second to approve the agenda for today.
So moved, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Item B, approval of the minutes for the May 15th, 2025 meeting.
So moved.
Thank you. Second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions, discussion? Hearing none, we put the motion to the vote. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion carries. Public comments. Are there any public comments to be made?
Madam Chair, we don't have any at this time.
Thank you. If you ask Billy Strickland, he will always be available to do something. You don't have to, just in the moment. The first, we will move into informational items, Section 8, Andrew Hart, retirement recognition.
Mr. Hart, if you'd like to come on up and join Mr. Neely up there. And if your wife is here, she's welcome to join as well. Okay. All right. Mr. Hart took over as head of school in June of 2022. Prior to that, Mr. Hart had served East Point since 2018. Much like someone else in this room, education was not Mr. Hart's first career, and this is not Mr. Hart's first retirement. In 2006, he retired from the United States Marine Corps, having served for 24 years. Mr. Hart holds degrees in history, business, and education leadership. In his time at East Point Academy, he brought the school through the COVID pandemic, many facility improvement projects, and built a strong and capable leadership team to carry the school forward. Mr. Hart, in recognition of your retirement and years of service to East Point Academy, we present you with this token of our appreciation. Congratulations and enjoy your grandbabies.
Let's give Andy a round of applause. Yeah, so Andy, I've really enjoyed getting to know you over the years, and my dissertation is focused on military veterans who are administrators in public education and how they implement mission command in the execution of their leadership within the school. And I think you're a great example of how you were able to bring your other experiences, your military leadership experience, into the school community, develop the right culture, and to have an expectation of excellency among your staff and your students and your family. So on behalf of the entire staff, you've been a wonderful partner, you've been a great friend, and I'm going to miss you. Thank you.
I really appreciate it.
I'm sure after facing the challenges of serving the country, you found it probably surprisingly hard in some ways to take over the classroom.
Yeah.
But anyway, I know that I can tell from what you've said and from Chris that the breadth of knowledge that those children have, not only of history reading, but of the things that you've brought to them because of the richness of service in your life for this country, for justice, for freedom around the world. These big concepts, while they're learning, beginning with small words and working up, you've really, I'm sure you've been a role model for them in moving that ladder upward so they see the higher things, the better things, the harder things. So thank you so much for that. Thank you.
So much.
Andy, would you like to say something?
Well, yeah, I just want to say thank you so much. My wife and I, Temple, will celebrate 43 years of marriage this August. She's been with me through every endeavor, the Marine Corps, corporate America, education, and as I retire and reflect on this time, and I echo your words, I don't think there's enough military personnel to go from military to education. I spent many, many years in recruiting command, where you're dealing with the youth of America. So I felt like I've been an educator for a long time. And to carry that over into this job, never have I had a job that I have loved so much. The charter world, I think, I'm worried about it, the future. The challenges we have, I think the biggest thing for me, and I'm not saying this is a pat on the back, I think when people take over charter, you have to have a business acumen as much as you do an education acumen. You can find great educators, and you have them on your staff. We find great educators, and we put them in the classroom, and we have great leadership. But I think the challenges we're having in charter today is finding that business leadership, to keep the doors open, to pay the bills, to adjust to the inflation rates, to adjust to the cost of doing business. Teachers are going to get their pay raises. We see that every year. It's the support personnel, and I know you deal with that here too. It's keeping up on the support side, I think, is going to be the greatest challenge. I think I could have done a couple more years, but we just had our 7th grandchild, so they're keeping me pretty busy. So I look forward to the next chapter, and I just want to say thank you to you, Chris, and your staff, and all that you've done for East Point Academy, and I hope they really do appreciate the position they're in and the relationship they have with you guys. But thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate you. Yeah, thanks again, Andy. Cindy, you remain up here.
Good morning. It is with great pleasure that I share with you today that South Carolina Whitmore School has earned Cogna Accreditation. Cogna is a nonprofit organization that provides quality assurance for schools, school districts, and education service providers. Accreditation as conferred by the Cogna Global Accreditation Commission provides SC Whitmore a nationally recognized mark of quality for the school. It demonstrates to the community SC Whitmore's commitment to their excellence, their willingness to enact meaningful change based on evaluation and feedback, and their desire to be the best they can be on behalf of the students they serve. Cognia recognizes schools across the globe that meet rigorous standards focused on productive learning environments, equitable resource allocation, and effective leadership. To earn Cognia accreditation, a school must submit to internal and external review. Earning accreditation from the Cognia Global Accreditation Commission means that the school meets Cognia performance standards and maintains a commitment to continuous improvement. Schools in good standing can maintain their accreditation for a 6-year term. Cognia accreditation is a rigorous process that focuses the entire school and its community on the primary goal of ensuring all students can flourish in engaging and equitable learning environments. Cognia and the South Carolina Public Charter School District team commend SC Whitmore School for meeting high standards and making progress on key indicators that impact student learning. Here with us today is SC Whitmore school leader, Kim Dunbar. Superintendent Neely has a flag from Cognia to present to the school as a token of their recognition. Ms. Dunbar, please come forward with your team to be recognized. Congratulations.
All right, so in order to put kids first, the staff and the administration of every school has to expect excellence among themselves. And I think this is just a great sign of the culture and the intentional focus you all have on being excellent for your kids. And so I just want to congratulate you for going the extra mile and for putting kids first. Thank you. We'll get a picture. All right, Chi-Chi. Let's give them another round of applause.
It is an honor to recognize our Core Value Award winner of the year. As a reminder, PCSD staff nominate their colleagues quarterly to be recognized for their demonstration of our 5 core values: focus, integrity, opportunity, excellence, and relationships. This year, staff chose the following team members as our quarterly Core Value Award winners, and if you could please stand as I call your names: Josh Finley, Carla Dowie, Teresa Estridge, and Jackie Snell. Thank you to each of you for your daily demonstration of our core values. You all make the PCSD a great place to work, so thank you so much. So to recognize our Core Value Award winner of the year, I am going to read a handful of notes that just emulate how much they really represent our core values. So these are things that our staff wrote about them. This person is one of the most selfless, compassionate people I've had the pleasure of working with. They are committed to putting kids first and are always willing to assist the PCSD staff, our students, parents, and the communities we serve. They're always happy to help out where they're needed. They're always a pleasant, smiling face to see in the office. This person consistently embodies our core values in every aspect of their work. Their steady and supportive presence, combined with a deep commitment to the success of our organization sets a powerful example for those around them. Their extensive knowledge of PCSD, along with their unwavering dedication, makes them an outstanding and deserving recipient. Their contributions not only enhance team performance, but also foster a positive and collaborative work environment. They are the glue that holds the district together. They are a great teammate and work well with everyone in the building. Their dedication to our Kids First mission is evident in everything they do. The Core Value Award winner of the year is Teresa Estridge. Teresa, come on up.
Come on up, Teresa. I don't think you're the oldest in the room. Come on up, Teresa. Well, first of all, yeah, Dr. Strickland, he's the oldest man in the room. Yeah. Isn't that right, Dr. Pope? We always look for a dig when we can find one. Congratulations, Teresa. When I was trying to think about there's so many wonderful things we can say about you. But Maya Angelou, I think, had a great quote that said, "People may forget what you said, but they will never forget how you made them feel." And I think everybody, whether it's the staff, our schools, everybody externally and internally feels like they belong when they're in contact with you. So thank you for making everyone feel special. Thank you for representing all the core values of the district and for always putting kids first.
Okay, now I have a surprise for you that I'm very excited about. So about I guess it was 3 years ago, I can't recall, her daughter was at Clemson and knew my daughter at Clemson. And so something was coming up at the mansion for the grounds, like looking at the new spring flowers or something like that, something fun, and Peggy McMaster was there and Henry McMaster was there. And so it was mother-daughter, so we went and had a good time. And so because of the person I know you are, not only operationally, vocationally, spiritually, and in every way, you're such a fine, wonderful person. I called the mansion, and Peggy McMaster has signed a book for you, the Governor's Mansion of South Carolina, and inside it says, "With appreciation to Teresa Estridge for your dedicated service to South Carolina, warm regards, Peggy McMaster, June 2025. And I'm glad I'm here today because last night I told them, I said, I'll come pick it up on the way in, at the front gate of the mansion where the police are. Yes. But I didn't get here till like 10:30, so I said I had to call this morning to get it. So, because I said I don't want anybody, thinking I'm storming the fence. You see what I'm saying? And I wanted to be sure that I lived to give that book to you. And you epitomize all those things that we've said, and you are that person.
Thank you. Love you. Thanks.
Okay.
And then we've also got this award for you.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'll get a picture of this,
We'll have to look at it. I haven't seen inside the book. Yeah, we'll look. Thank you.
Great.
I understand we do not need executive session. Is that correct? We will now move to action items. Our first action item, Harold Martin and Peace Engagement Renewal. Christine.
So board, you've got a copy of of the contract renewal for Harold Martin. And I just wanted to personally say that, you know, this contract has not been renewed in 5 years, and I think it's well overdue. You all know through your personal engagement with Eric, you've seen the way he performs on behalf of the district. You see how he aligns with the mission, vision, and values of the district. You've seen how he has saved the district thousands of dollars and prevented many potential litigation issues over the course of his tenure working here since 2012. And I think you've also witnessed how he is called on at the state level, at the State House, as a subject matter expert when it comes to the Charter Act. And he's been very influential in that respect to continue to advocate for high accountability, strong governance, adequate quality funding for charter schools, and for a law that puts kids first. And so on behalf of the staff, really, we're recommending that the board support a 10% increase for this contract in light of all that he does. And keep in mind, this is a flat fee. A lot of attorneys don't do that. And he has to forego a lot of potential opportunity in the marketplace with clients because of practically the full-time work that he commits himself to here. So I would just ask the board to support this much deserved and overdue increase of his contract.
I think I'd like to just give him an applause right now. We need a motion to make this official. We need a motion and a second to approve the Harold Martin and Peace Engagement Renewal as recommended.
So moved.
Thank you.
Proudly second.
Second. We have a motion and a second. All in favor of renewal, approval with the law firm of Harold Martin and Peace, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion carries. Thank you. And thank you, Eric. We all thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We feel like we have a personal lawyer for our whole, any question, none's too large or small. We will now move on to Spartanberg Preparatory School Amendment. Kristen Farmer. Thank you, Kristen.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Trustees, please draw your attention to action item B as I present a summary of the board memo. Spartanberg Preparatory School opened in 2009 and was renewed by the PCSD board in 2019. As of March 20th, the school's 135th day, it served 460 students in grades 4K through 8th. The mission of Spartanberg Prep is to ensure equal access to a supportive school community that promotes high academic excellence using an inquiry-based approach to teaching. The school's vision is for every student to become a lifelong learner, a productive citizen who respects self and others, and a positive influence on the world. Spartanberg Prep and its board request approval to amend its educational model by transitioning from single-gender classes to a fully co-educational setting beginning in the 25-26 school year. This amendment supports stronger alignment with the school's mission and addresses several key factors such as strong parent and teacher support for co-education based on recent surveys, challenges in sustaining professional development for single-gender instructional practices, lack of current research validating the effectiveness of single-gender instruction, rising student discipline referrals, and concerns about limited social development in single-gender environments. Additionally, this transition will improve staffing flexibility, resource allocation, and overall operational efficiency. The PCSD finance team reviewed Spartanberg Prep's financial data and found stable fund balances, consistent cash flow, and reduced operating expenses amid enrollment declines. To address this, the school is actively partnering with a marketing firm and implementing a range of strategies to support enrollment growth. Staff recommends that the PCSD Board of Trustees approve the amendment for Spartanberg Preparatory School. Thank you.
Thank you, Kristen. We need a motion and a second.
So moved.
Thank you. Have a motion and a second.
Second.
We will now call on for any questions, discussions on the amendment.
And today, representing the school today, we have the Executive Director, Dr. Tamikia Whitmire, and Elementary Principal, Ms. Hannah Holmes, to answer any questions the board may have.
Yes.
Madam Chair, I have a question.
Yes.
One of the items that you listed is that there's not any relevant research or new research showing the advantages of single-gender instruction. Can you talk a little bit about that and what you either know or don't know or have found or haven't found in the research?
Absolutely. Through research and just trying to see what current research says, we couldn't really find a solid support or negate against it. So honestly, we read a lot of just mixed things around students and the challenges that they face whenever they are split by gender. And we also read some of the pros that we see with that. So there really wasn't one way or another that really led our convictions in continuing single gender, because we knew that it was best for kids.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
As in respect to the single gender determination, was there any forecast prior to the school forming that spelled out why you might have gone to single gender education?
Can you elaborate a little bit more? I'm sorry.
Yes, you started the school on single gender
We did.
education, correct?
Yes.
What led you to starting the school on the single gender platform?
So back in 2009, when the school was established, single gender was the buzz in South Carolina. There was a guru by the name of David Chadwell that was all around South Carolina doing a lot of research. A lot of the schools were starting single gender classes. There weren't whole schools at that point, just a couple classes trying it out. It was the buzz. But over the time, that has gone away, and like you said, the research just doesn't support it. So back in 2009, it was the buzz. But over the years, it has gone away.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thank you. Good question. Other questions? I have a quick question. How are parents embracing this? I bet they are. I bet I bet so. Everybody's kind of on a high, probably. Prior to that, the classes were just segregated by gender?
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Yeah.
And there were a couple classes that were co-ed due to, if it was an honors class that had, 9 kids, of course, we couldn't have a 4 class and a 5, so they were all co-ed.
Yeah. Any other questions? I just want to applaud you for your, your ability to navigate through this and observe it from one side and now the other. And we all wish you the best.
Thank you.
And as those girls and guys getting to know each other.
Thank you. Thank you.
So anyway.
I just wanted to also just thank y'all for being here. It means a lot when our schools are here in person.
Of course.
And it gives our board a chance to ask you questions, but, I was there just recently and just really enjoyed the visit. And the culture there just feels really good. Seeing those kids, and I was in classes where the kids were together, and to me, it just seemed like things were humming along, and the kids were happy, the teachers were happy, and the school community is thriving. So, Tamika, thanks for your leadership and all that you're doing to create that wonderful environment there in Spartanburg.
Well, thank you, and we appreciate the board, the district and its leadership as well. And our board chair is also on the Zoom. I don't want to leave him without recognizing that he's on the Zoom as well, Mr. Norton. So thank y'all.
Great.
Thank you. Okay. Now we have a motion and a second. Any questions, discussions, or are we ready to vote? All in favor of the requested Spartanburg Preparatory School amendment, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Of course not. Thank you.
Thank you.
We thank you all.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Next, we will move to a very serious issue, the revocation hearing for Sea Islands Heritage Academy. John, I'd like to ask, are there any members from that organization here
Uh,
today?
No, ma'am, I do not believe so. I just wanted to double check and see. Ms. Sellers, was there anyone that signed up from the school that you're not? Okay, and the chair Spites, is Mr. Spites here? Anybody from the Sea Island Heritage Academy Board? Very well. Madam Chair, given that there are no one representing the school here, we were scheduled, of course, to hold the revocation hearing this morning for Sea Islands Heritage Academy. No one from the board or school, I believe, is here. As a result, we find that their board's lack of attendance today is acquiescence to the proposed action of the notice of revocation that was submitted to the school on April 18th, 2025. As such, we incorporate our staff recommendation report by reference and for the record. At this time, PCSD staff recommend that you vote to affirm the revocation and contract termination for Sea Islands Heritage Academy effective June 30th, 2025.
Okay. We need a motion and a second, as recommended by staff, to revoke the charter and the charter contract for Sea Islands Heritage Academy. This will be effective June 30th, 2025.
I move to accept staff's recommendation effective June 30th.
Thank you.
Second, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Now we put it to a vote. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. And we wish their efforts well as to where they go from here. We do, because those precious children are the things that we're here for. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Chair, if I may.
Yes,
I
yes.
think this is a reflection of poor board leadership. As you read through these documents, of course, there were 3 members present, no members present, and I'm sure they could have had a virtual option. I think this is a learning lesson for all of our charter schools that are out there. It's just board-led, and this is a failure on the board.
So the board at one, I think, might have ended with three members, that sort of thing, board governance, yeah. Excuse me, move on. Now, excuse me?
Power School.
Yeah, Power School. Power School legal actions, John R. Payne. We need a motion and a second to approve. Well, you go ahead and present, then I'll ask for that, excuse me.
Yes, ma'am. Madam Chair, members, trustees, as you recall, back in December 2024, there was an international data breach of Power School, which is an international company that provides student information systems in the educational space across the planet. The unprecedented data breach resulted in continued unknowns in terms of the impact. Upon noticing the breach, working with our Canty partners, we determined that the district and its schools were directly impacted by the breach. Although Power School indicates that the breach was contained, we have no evidence of any current or future impact because we are aware that personally identifiable information may have been compromised in the attack. Friends Law Group is a national company that is representing clients across the country in a mass action case, and upon review, district staff and legal counsel support joining this case. As such, Madam Chair, we recommend that you give approval to Superintendent Neely to sign the attorney-client contract and join the case for any current or future relief.
Thank you. We need a motion and a second to approve the superintendent to sign the attorney-client contract and join the case for any current or future relief.
Motion to accept staff recommendation.
Second, Madam Chair.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second, and now the chair will now put the motion to a vote. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. The motion carries.
Yes, ma'am.
May I ask, can you make a few comments on how disruptive this has been?
Certainly for schools and families, for children, for educators. What we know is that personally identifiable information was taken in with incredible speed, and the information was contained. So Power School as a company has offered credit monitoring, free credit monitoring to individuals and has put out some information. but the impact really leaves us with a lot of unknowns. While they maintained that the breach was contained, that the data were destroyed, we have no concrete evidence of that. And so we have potentially risk for many families, many children, and the South Carolina Public Charter School District is not alone. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of other schools across not only our country, but across the planet. In fact, Mr. Finley, who is our chief of data, and I were looking, and there were even data breaches that impacted American educational facilities in the Middle East on bases and those kinds of things. So this is a historic in nature. And we just don't know the impact, and for that reason, we believe that the France Law Group will be able to assist us in ensuring that we are able to be and get any relief that may be forthcoming.
Thank you. Okay. Now we move on to closure protocol policy. Take a,
For the vote, please, ma'am, for the...
I'm sorry?
Was there a vote?
Was there a vote? There was a vote. There was a vote.
Yeah, we voted.
Okay.
Yes.
Josh, can you get that back?
Yes,
I'm so
yes,
sorry.
yes. Yeah. Okay. E, closure protocol policy.
The next item up is our closure protocol. As you are aware, the Charter Act requires that authorizers have closure protocol procedures in place for when and as needed when charter schools may close. It's required by the Charter Act. And so this spring, we undertook a cyclical review of our closure protocol. As part of that work, we used lessons learned in previous closures. We consulted to see what other states were doing, as well as charter organizations, any resources that they may have. In our efforts, we were able to streamline the closure protocol to reduce duplication, and we added in, as an example, data and information technology sections, again, due to lessons learned. And as a result, what you have before you is our proposed school closure protocol. And Madam Chair, we would respectfully ask that the board entertain a motion to approve the closure protocol as provided.
Thank you. We need a motion and a second to approve the closure protocol policy as recommended by staff.
So moved, Madam Chair.
Second, thank you. The chair, call for any questions, discussion? Questions, Dr. Payne?
Yeah, I mean, so just one. So are there, what you're saying, are there significant changes?
No, sir. So one of the things that we learned in looking at this is we wanted to make sure that we streamlined the entire process, clearly identifying what schools were responsible for, as well as articulating what we at the district are. In that process, we were able to condense things so they're less actual individual items and more kind of chunked, as it were. One of the other things that we noticed in the closure protocol is that there was not really a section that attended to data and information technology. As an example of that, we had a school closure that many of you likely remember a couple of years ago that regrettably when the staff departed and we had to take physical custody of servers and computers, we did not have an access key to access those devices. And as a result, we are unable to use those devices. So we believe it critically important to make sure that the data are as pristine as possible, not only in electronic systems, but in any paperwork that they have. We have all the keys to all their tech, so that we can, as needed, be able to go in and retrieve any kind of educational records that we may see fit. And so that was an added component
So that is new. So that's,
yes, sir. That is a new,
I
sir.
see. Okay. All right. Are there any other new things?
No, sir.
Okay. All right.
Good question. Okay, hearing any other questions? Other questions? So we have a motion and a second. We now call for the question. The chair will now put the motion to a vote. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Okay. The closure protocol policy is affirmed. Next, do you want to tell me something? Yeah. Next, we will go to the item F, Green Charter School Taylor's voluntary relinquishment.
Okay. PCSD staff recommends that the Board of Trustees accept the voluntary relinquishment of the charter and contract for Green Charter School Taylors, originally approved by the board on April 20th, 2023, for a planned opening in the 24-25 school year. Green Taylors was approved to open a kindergarten through 7th grade replication charter school campus with a focus on science, technology, engineering, and mathematics in Taylor's, serving 120 students in its first year. In January 2024, Green requested a one-year deferral, postponing the opening to the 25-26 school year due to unanticipated facility renovation costs. Despite continued efforts to secure a viable facility option, the Green Board ultimately voted on May 8, 2025, to relinquish its charter, citing limited availability and the associated financial burden. Staff respectfully requests a motion to accept the voluntary relinquishment of Green Taylor's charter and contract. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Kristen. We need a motion and a second to accept the voluntary relinquishment of Green Charter School Taylor's charter.
I move to accept the voluntary relinquishment of Green Charter School Taylor's charter.
Okay, we have a motion. We need a second. We need a second. Thank you. Any questions or discussion? I have a question. Green has, had an interesting history, but they've generally been performance strong. So what is the backstory here, or how did this come to be?
The school says that they can fulfill the demand with their Simpsonville and Greenville campuses, and like I said, they've had difficulty securing a facility, and so they were able to fulfill the demand in their other two elementary schools located not too far away from where they were going to locate in Taylor's.
So it's not that they didn't think, or they didn't get to the point where they were recruiting and that sort of thing. So
No.
it's not, so they had a chance to assess that before
Yes.
big contributions and investments were
Right,
made.
there were some ongoing facility issues.
That's good. And are we pretty up on, I would think you all are, up on the curve of, as you see a school beginning to try to take form, and you all are involved in every step of the way. If you're seeing, yellow signs, yellow light signs along the way.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
We work with those schools throughout the whole planning year, and facility-wise, board governance-wise, and in all aspects to make sure that they are ready to open and for students.
From beginning to end. So the end is good. We want the end good.
Right,
Yeah.
correct.
Okay. We will now then put the motion to a vote. We have a motion and a second. All in favor of accepting the voluntary relinquishment of Green, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? None. Thank you. Thank you, Kristen. Now, here he is. Here he is. He's going to tell us the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
So help me God.
Okay, that's good. We look forward to hearing from you, Mr. Payne.
Good. Okay. Madam Chair, Madam Chair and board members, at the end of April, we expect 16.67% of the general fund approved budget to remain, and we're currently at 19.34%. My report will show the district is operating with a net gain for the month, increasing our fund balance for the year. This is a district-wide income statement that includes general fund and state aid to classrooms revenue transferred to our schools. This is a majority of the state revenue of the schools that they receive. Through April 30th, the district received over $172.8 million in revenue, with total expenditures of over $172.4 million, which equals a net gain of $368,023. Of the revenue received, over $168.1 million was sent to our schools under the state aid to classroom line and for any that participate in the state retirement system. Our focus continues to be advocating for additional state funding since our schools don't receive local tax support. This report is the income statement for the district office only, which includes only general fund revenue recorded for our state mandated 2% authorizing fee, donations, interest income, and any other local sources. For the month of April, the district recorded over $480,000 in revenue, over $397,000 in expenditures, for a net gain of $83,099 for the month. This increases our beginning fund balance from $2,518,137 to $2,896,800, or an additional $378,663 for the year. On page 4, you'll see the report breaks out the district's budget and expenditures by department. Leadership has a budget over $1.6 million, expenditures of over $1.3, with 18% remaining as of April. Sponsor Performance has a budget of over $1.1 million, expenditures of over $919,000, with 23% remaining. Support and Implementation has a budget of over $1 million, expenditures of over $867,000, with 15% remaining. External Affairs has a budget of over $621,000, expenditures of over $485,000, with 22% remaining. Financial Services and Human Resources has a budget of over $835,000, expenditures of over $659,000, with 21% remaining. The final report is generated monthly by the South Carolina Department of Education and includes all of the state funding calculated for the district. Of the $251.7 million currently allocated, $243.7 million is under the state aid to classroom line, which is at this point 96.82%. Madam Chair, this concludes my April financial report, and I respectfully request board approval at this time.
Thank you. We have we want a motion to support this. And,
So moved.
And second?
Second.
Any questions?
Yep, one question,
John
please.
Payne? Yes.
So when next board meeting is August, right?
Yes.
Okay. So when will the decrease in state aid to classrooms based on virtual school, when will we start to see that? I assume it's for the next budget year, right?
Yes, that starts
Okay.
July 1st.
So will we see it in August? Is that when we'll, on this last page, I guess is what I'm asking, if you would do me the favor
Yes.
of when that sets in, if you would point it out to us. So
That
we
will
are able
start
to
July 1st. The new ratio
Yep.
will start July 1st, so you'll start to see that in August.
Appreciate it. And if
And,
there's-
and just FYI, overall with our virtuals, there's about 1.5 million, so 2% of that's only about $30,000 for a year.
Very good. Thank you. Appreciate it very much.
Thank you. Thank you, John. Okay, so we haven't, we need to take action on this, don't we? We need
Yes,
a
ma'am.
motion and a second to approve the third reading of the fiscal year budget as recommended by staff.
So we have a motion and a second, so we just need to vote, correct?
A second, okay. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
We
Yes.
can do third reading budget now.
Yes, okay, hold on, let me see where that is.
All right, thank you.
Yes, thank you. Now, item H, third reading of the fiscal year 2025-26 budget. John S. Payne.
You just can't get rid of us, can you?
We don't want to. That's why.
All right. Madam Chair and board members, the third reading of the 2026 general fund budget is based on the governor's approved budget, which includes our current 135-day membership counts, adding 2 new schools, decreasing the virtual school weighting from 0.65 to 0.50, increasing the state minimum teacher salary to $48,500, increasing the state minimum, interest on investments, and the mandated 2% of state appropriation. Projected revenue for operating the district office includes $450,000 in interest revenue, $5.1 million from the state aid to classroom line, $14,000 to serve pre-K students, $20,000 for our 2% authorizing fee for Palmetto Excel, and $9,700 for serving 3 and 4-year-olds with disabilities. This equates to $5,593,700 in projected general fund revenue. Projected expenditures include a 3% cost of living increase to reward staff for operational excellence, bringing IT and Power School support back in-house, and increasing from 32 to 38 FTEs to provide additional support in IT and special education. The cost of adding FTEs to support IT and Power School is a significant savings for the district. Looking at the expenditure overview versus the current year, salaries increased 14.84%, benefits increased 15.1%, purchase services decreased 8.23%, property services decreased 30.17%, travel decreases 5.58%, other services decreased 41.3%, supplies has no change, and other objects decreased 56.83%, for a total decrease of 5.66% across the board. The changes are due to adding the FTEs and reducing the outsourcing for these services. Forecasting out revenue versus expenditures, we're anticipating a balanced budget with an increase of 5.66%. Madam Chair, this concludes third reading of the FY26 general fund budget, and I respectfully request board approval at this time.
Thank you. We need a motion and a second to approve the third reading of the fiscal year 25-26 budget as recommended by staff.
I move that we approve the third reading of the 25-26 general fund budget.
Second that, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Any questions? I have a question. How have you felt about the numbers, how they're going? It looks like they're going well.
Well,
I mean, especially the savings side.
Well, I'm wearing a different hat now. When I used to sit where you are, I was very focused on the bottom line. We keep adding to our fund balance. So that shows me that we have very positive financials and we have conservative leadership. The audit is in process, in case anybody's wondering. We're on schedule with that. Our investments are solid. We invest through the state local government fund. Those percentages are dropping just a little bit, but that's based on what the Federal Reserve does. But our investments are solid. Our fund balance continues to grow. We have to keep up with the cost just like everybody else. Inflation is a factor, but we have to continue to pay staff to do good work. And what this does is brings in some considerable expense that we had, and it continues to reward staff for their outstanding service. So I feel very positive about this.
Good, thank you.
Madam Chair?
Chris?
if I may.
Yes.
It's good to see, we all know that outsourcing can be a slippery slope, and the intentional alley there to minimize that. So I want to let you know we appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, just a few things on the budget. It is conservative. Nick always does a great job of creating a very conservative budget because there's always still unknowns. And we are in a transformational time in education where the state is supporting ESAs, and we're continuing to see changes in local school districts, property taxes. You know, we've still got issues with inflation and other national and international economic variables that impact the state's finances. So we always come in with a very conservative budget for the board. The Canty contract, that was roughly about $400,000 a year. And so being able to bring in a few additional folks and run that program ourselves is going to save the district a lot of money, as you can tell. But I do want to say that Canty has been a great partner. They will continue to be a partner with us in a limited scale, just in terms of cybersecurity. But we want to continue to be good stewards of taxpayer dollars. We only get 2% of state appropriations, so we don't have a choice but to be very lean and mean. I will also say that the district also has seen a reduction in revenue of over $1 million this year due to the cuts by the state for charter schools. And our virtual schools are hurt most. Palmetto Excel saw a reduction of $300,000. And of course, nothing has changed for us in terms of the compliance responsibility we have under federal and state law. So the staff still has to do all the things. Meanwhile, our population is going to increase from 21,600 next year to over 23,000. So we're continuing to grow. We're the fastest growing district in the state at 39%. And the state is now examining through RFA a new funding formula. We don't know what that's going to look like, but we do know there were advocates that wanted to cut brick and mortar funding from 1.25 to 0.25. All of our charter schools would have closed. And as we all know, it's all about enrollment. That's the only way you generate revenue in a charter school. If you don't have enrollment, you can't exist. And so we're asking our schools to be good stewards as well, to be conservative in their budgets, and to continue to look for ways to be innovative and to save money, because these are different times, and we don't know what the future is going to look like. And I just pray that the state will not make any more cuts.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Madam Chair, if I can
Yes.
follow up with the comment that Dexter made a minute ago. There is a line, maybe it's a fine line you balance between for a competitive advantage that we may have, that we can bring something in-house versus outsourcing. Sometimes it just isn't worth the money to keep it in-house. It's worth it to put it on, outsource it. I can assure you that the staff has looked at this long and hard about bringing certain items back in-house. They've looked at the numbers and they've weighed the pros and cons as far as the additional work and the FTEs and the cost that goes with that, and they've balanced it out and said that it's in our best interest, where we would have a competitive advantage or a comparative advantage to bring it in-house.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now we're moving to elections. No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Huh? Board election. Yeah. Oh, excuse me. Okay, the motion carries. Okay, we need to vote on the third reading of the fiscal year 2025 budget. We need a motion and a second. I thought we had, so we just had them come to the vote. I was listening, not checking off boxes. Okay, all in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye. None opposed. Thank you. Thank you, John.
Thank
And
you.
I just want to say, John and I are friends, and sometimes he'll tell me about his goings and visiting with schools and just the sophistication of his knowledge base and his organizational skills and his reality-based conversations with our schools, that I think they are not offended at all. They're welcoming because they want to do things in the best way for their school. And you have, he doesn't smile much, but that's because he knows too much. But he is just a wonderful servant of high intellect and skill with numbers, and I appreciate that a lot. And it's making a difference across these states, across the state with these schools. A lot of people, yeah. Thank you. Thank you, John. Okay, we will now move into board elections. No. Recess. Okay, a 5-minute recess. We need a 5-minute break. We will recess for 5 minutes. Thank you. Sorry about that. I don't know if we officially left session, but we're going to return to it officially. And we understand that we have some representatives from Sea Island Heritage, and we would be very glad to hear from you.
2 minutes.
The time frame would be about 2 minutes from our public comment section of the meeting. Thank you.
Madam Chair,
And
thank you.
Could you tell us your name?
Yes,
and
I will.
Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you. Thank
My
you.
name is Robert King. I'm a member of the Board of Trustees of the Sea Island Heritage Academy and formerly a member of the board in the state of New York that was responsible for awarding and managing charter schools. So I appreciate the role that you all play, and thank you for that. I asked for this opportunity to speak simply to respond to where we are and understanding and accepting the vote that you cast earlier this morning on our charter. If we made an error along the way, I would say that it was that we underestimated the difficulty of enrolling students in a venue that is as rural as St. Helena Island and the islands east of Beaufort. As you can probably understand, there's no major media markets there. We're on the periphery of Savannah and Charleston, so we don't get much coverage. There's only a couple weekly newspapers. So most of our enrollment was literally going door to door, putting tables in front of Walmart and different grocery stores, and going out and meeting with parents and kids out on the athletic fields when they were signing up for spring sports. It was literally that hands-on. But despite those difficulties, we were able to persuade on the basis of only a concept. We didn't even have a building. We didn't have teachers. We didn't have a curriculum to enroll close to 40 students. The good news is that during this past year, 100% of our students demonstrated academic progress. 100% of our students will be returning for year 2, and in the latest information we have on enrollment, we've actually close to doubled our enrollment for next year. Given that I served as an authorizer, I understand why you've taken the action you have, because there are certain things we have not yet demonstrated, and the most significant, and I was listening to your comments earlier about budgeting, is our enrollment is just not sufficient enough to generate the kind of state funding that is necessary. As you know, we have been quite successful at generating philanthropic support, and we will continue, I suspect, to do that going forward, but without the status as a charter school. This year, despite the decision you've had to make, has been a remarkable success for our students and their families, and giving them a chance that the regular public schools simply have not provided them. And I asked Alana if we could demonstrate for you where they were when we got them academically and where they are today. It is dramatic progress. And so we will find a way, hopefully, to keep going, and perhaps someday come back to you and ask you to reconsider us for another charter down the road. But I just wanted you to know that we are grateful for your support and your willingness to give us a chance to wind this down in a way that may permit us to continue and to continue serving among the neediest kids in our state from an academic perspective. Thank you for this opportunity to speak.
Thank you. Thank you. That was a gracious talk of leadership from the heart and goodwill toward children. And I appreciate and admire that in you. I know you put it to work in building an entity that was not there. So we wish you the very best.
Thank you very much.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
what's the gentleman's?
Mr. King.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Yes, again, according to the rest of the board members, we're grateful that you came today. And I've lived in that area, so I know it's challenging, right? Lived in Beaufort, and I know that's a challenging area. One of the questions that I would have is, as a board, you know, you're a great board leader, sounds like, in your background, you know, expresses that. What is the challenge for you there to get the board members on, you know, on track with you? Because, you know, reading through the documentations, there seems to be a lack of board leadership, but hearing you, seem like a tremendous board leader. So just want to ask you a question, you know, what were some of the challenges with your board?
One of the things that I've found is, as you can imagine, the vast majority of our students come from the Gullah Geechee community in and around St. Helena Island, Ladies Island. I would have expected, and I'm a relatively new resident, I've been living here in South Carolina for about 4 years now, that there would be kind of more visible leadership within the Gullah Geechee community, and that we would have enjoyed a relationship with the Penn Center that unfortunately has not materialized. At the Penn Center, their board now is kind of national. I don't think there's any members of their board that live in and around Beaufort or St. Helena. And so their interests seem to be elsewhere. And as some of you may know, we had originally hoped that we could co-locate on the grounds of the Penn Center. They've got plenty of space, and it would have been, in our view anyways, a perfect marriage between its original purpose and its kind of new purpose going forward, but that hasn't come to pass. And within the community, it's quite dispersed, not just geographically, but almost family by family by family. And so what we're seeing now is, now that we've been through year one, the progress that these kids have made has now started to get permeated out into the larger community, because the parents of our kids are talking to the parents of their neighbors who have kids of the same age, and that's why we're starting to see growth in enrollment. And you know, the proof had to be in the pudding, so as to speak, and I think we've demonstrated. I mean, some of our kids have made 4 grade levels progress, and I think across the entire, every one of our kids, including kids that may have been suspended once or twice, have made significant progress year over year academically. So I think that's communicating out. And as I said at the outset, what we underestimated was how hard it was going to be to communicate, not just that we existed, but that we could serve these kids in a very favorable way. But now that we've had a year under our belt, I think we're starting to see that. As I said, I would have hoped there would have been more kind of visible leadership within that community, but it just doesn't seem to be there the way you would see perhaps in a larger city. The role of leaders in the various churches, for example, don't seem to demonstrate the kind of leadership you might see, let's say, in Charleston, or maybe here in Columbia.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Thank you. Mm-hmm. Any other questions? Well, we do want to thank you. I appreciate your grace in coming here, and may the road grow closer between us.
Well, we all hope that'll be the case. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah. Now we will move on to board elections. Our last item before the superintendent's report. The next item on the agenda is board elections. Per board policy, board elections are held at the last regularly scheduled meeting of the fiscal year. However, the elections may be postponed by a majority vote of the board. Board officers are chair, vice chair, and secretary. Officers are elected by majority vote of the board members in attendance. At this time, I'm just going to move right through it, right? This time. Okay, excuse me. Okay. First, we will open the floor to nominations. I'll ask Marlene to record the nominations for us, and any board member can be nominated for any officer position, and a board member may be nominated for more than one position. However, a board member may not be elected to more than one position and also married. I was adding that. Okay. Okay. A nomination does not need a second. I'll need a motion to close nominations, and then we will proceed to vote for chair, vice chair, and secretary. First, it looks like the first order of business, we will need a motion to close, to proceed with the nominations. Excuse me? Okay, right here. Okay. Oh, we're moving into action right now. Okay. Nominations will be made for each nomination made. Ask the person nominated if they accept the nomination. That's what you're going to do. Just ask for nominations. Okay. We will now take nominations from the floor.
I'd like to nominate Cindy Mosteller as board chair.
Thank you. Are you writing that down? You know how to spell my name?
Madam Chair,
yes.
I would like to nominate for vice chair a proud Gamecock.
Hmm?
Proud Gamecock of Sumter High School and later of Clemson and the NFL.
Yeah.
Dexter Davis for vice chair. I knew I'd draw some looks.
Yeah, you
even
did.
Even from the attorney. He was looking around.
Okay. Other nominations? Would anyone like to consider the other nomination? Of course, you can also be nominated for vice chair or chair.
Madam Chair, looks like someone will need to be secretary. I nominate myself for secretary.
Okay. Okay. Are there any other nominations to be made? No. Do I hear a motion to close nominations?
So moved, Madam Chair.
Second?
Second.
Nominations are now closed. We'll proceed with the vote. If no contested offices, proceed as follows. Given that there are no contested seats, do I hear a motion to elect the slate of officers nominated?
So moved. Second.
All in favor? Or any discussion? This is the time to get your quid pro quos in when you've got that kind of power. I'm just being funny. Okay. So do I hear a motion that we elect the slate of officers nominated? Yes. Okay. Thank you.
So I'll second.
Second. Okay. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. Well, congratulations, Jonathan and Dexter. And I'll enjoy. Yeah, I've still got a lot of learning curve to go, but anyway, thank you. Yes. Now you're going out. He's going out to his. Yeah. Thank you. Okay, congratulations. Congratulations, Jonathan. Thank you. Yes, John Payne.
Okay. Madam Chair, trustees, I want to give you just a few updates from excuse me, our sponsor performance department. Next month on July 24th, as we have in prior years, we will be hosting our interested applicant workshop As we've shared before, over the course of a year, we take and maintain the names of interested individuals and groups who have reached out to us with interest in potentially submitting an application to us for a charter school. To that end, we host this interested applicant workshop every summer to give people a kind of a high-level overview of our district, our mission, our vision, our values, and most importantly, the kids first. To that end, we have 17 groups that have registered for our event next month that involves over 30 individuals. So when we return in August, we will share that update, and we look forward to meeting with those individuals and hearing their ideas. As you're aware, we have also been working on our closure protocol updates to make sure that those are up to date, as well as actively supporting our Year Zero schools with their critical startup requirements in the pre-opening phase. And we are close to being able to open 2 new schools this upcoming fall, and we're excited to be working with those individuals and those leaders as they go forward. On the data and accountability side, we are working on our AFO dashboards. Those are slated to be released this month. We are moving along with that. We already have begun our summer data collections. We are preparing for the annual Power School rollover, and we have made offers for the IT director as well as the Power School administrator, and those 2 individuals start on Monday. And we are excited to share and introduce these 2 professionals to you when we return in August. And lastly, one of the things that we've done over the course of the year, or back, I guess, last summer, we started looking at some items that we could embed in our professional development surveys that we could then evaluate the efficiency, the effectiveness of the professional development that we, as a collective group of professionals, provide to our schools. And to that end, at the end of the year, I have conducted summary evaluations summary evaluations of those data, and I'd like to touch on that for a moment. The what is we have 6 standardized questions that we use in all district surveys when we're assessing how well our professional development is going. The why is, again, to measure the efficacy of it and to establish kind of a baseline so we know this is where we are, and now we can know, and as we go forward, how we can make that better. We created an online survey request system for staff to request these surveys. They can use our 6 standard items. They can also add additional items if they need something that is specific to that session. We created a database for analysis and reporting back. And what we found is over 90% of participants feel that our district staff is high quality and the professional development we provide is high quality. Now, you will note when I show you the next slide that there are some that mark strongly disagree or disagree. And while there may be an individual or 2 who truly felt that way, in examining the quotes or the notes that were provided by participant, it seems that some maybe had flipped the scale and had rated it incorrectly, as well as at least one individual who was just displeased for having to come to a professional development. So, but
that's not very professional.
That's okay, but we take that because what that does is it sets a rigorous and measurable target for us, and it gives us a line in the sand that we can monitor and we can adjust and we can make sure that in addition to the phenomenal high quality work that's already going on, including the professional development, that we just keep making it better and better. And so we will be analyzing these going forward. So what you then have on this slide is just a distribution of the data, and what you will find as you look, particularly down in the top line are the 6 questions with numbers. The bottom is the same questions but with percentages. And what you will note that you can see overwhelmingly that folks believe that the information provided is beneficial and informative. They indicate that they will be able to apply the knowledge they gain from the training to their work, that the content was relevant to their professional roles and responsibilities, that the trainers demonstrated high levels of expertise in the subject matter, that the session was engaging and interactive, facilitated effectively by the trainer, and that the training session was well organized and ran smoothly. These items are developed in context with adult learning theory, and so we found these items to be very beneficial because we want them to know, and what they know we want them to then put into practice in a spirit of continuous improvement. So we are very pleased with this, and as we go forward into next year, we'll be getting more surveys and we'll be doing more analysis as we go forward. The last item that I have is just to share a non-material change. PACE revised some of their bylaws, but they have not yet been approved by the district. The school has acknowledged the need to do so in the future, And in consultation with council, the changes that they had made were deemed non-material. For example, the school added an ex officio to their board when PACE became a Purple Heart school. Another example is they updated language around required board training and timelines to conform to the Charter Act, and they revised bylaws to change the number of votes needed to remove a board member for cause from 2 to a 3 majority vote. So these were deemed non-material changes, and if you feel this way, if you disagree, we will certainly bring this before as an amendment, but we found these to be non-material. Madam Chair, barring any questions, that is the conclusion of my updates.
Any questions? Thank you, John.
Yes, ma'am.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My left and my right hand is coming with me today. I have 2 quick updates for you this morning. The first is we have 4 open corrective action plans. The first 3 you are aware of. What I want you to hear from me is our commitment as a team and as a staff to ensure that those, actually all 4 of these, are closed out officially by the end of the fiscal year. So we will start the 25-26 school year on a clean slate. What is new here as a corrective action plan since the last time we've met is that Careless Online Academy has received an area of concern due to their ability to implement the high school defined program as stated. That concern is twofold. One is their ability to ensure that every graduation candidate has properly met the South Carolina high school requirements. And the second is that each of those students has also met the seat time requirements. So we are supporting the school. We supported the school in their spring graduation candidates and gave them some guidance there. We are doing the same, a formal audit and support for them through their summer graduates, and we will continue that support into the new school year if needed. The second item is an update on the district's implementation of our Medicaid program. As you know, Dee Drayton, our Medicaid administrator, leads this program. What I'm sharing with you this morning is to no fault of her own. Dee has been a gift to us since we found her, and she found us. But we do have an update for you today. As a district team, we did an internal program audit of Medicaid this spring. The findings from that audit were twofold. One, there's insufficient school participation to justify the staff resources. And actually, our schools are seeing this same regard on the school level side. There's also potential liability as the LEA to implement Medicaid. So the 25-26 school year will be the final school year of Medicaid claiming for the public charter school district. We began the offboarding of that in June, the first week of June. Our communications plan is layered. Superintendent Neely and Susan Howard made direct phone calls to schools that are currently claiming, and we have also sent email follow-up for that. We've also reached out to schools that are interested in claiming directly so that they understand that there are no new contracts moving forward and that we are beginning the wind down process. In August, that wind down timeline and support will be published, and we will notify the proper entities, including the Department of Education and the Department of Health and Human Services. I couldn't get the last letter in January. So we have a plan to communicate with all of the proper entities as the wind down process unfolds. And then the final thing to share with you is that we are committed to ensuring district support is present all the way through the quality assurance audit, which will bleed into 2027. Pending any questions, that concludes my report this month. Yes, ma'am.
Was there any kind of explanation given for insufficient school participation in Medicaid?
Yes, so here, essentially the data showed us, and we reviewed the data for multiple years. The story that the schools were telling us in that data is that while they were eager to claim, the return on investment was not necessarily there. We have numerous schools that are claiming, but the majority of those schools, I think with the exception of 2, were only bringing in on their end less than $5,000 a year. And so what the schools were having to invest as far as human capital alongside the district staff, which was programmatic with Dee, Chi-Chi also supported her, and then we have extensive support at the finance level. We were seeing the school was not claiming to the extent that was making it meaningful to them, which in turn did not make sense for us to continue to use those resources as well.
Was that because of the selection process of students?
No, Medicaid's very complex. And so it not only takes the service, but then all of the documentation, all of the paperwork, the online systems, all of those layers, it just wasn't, we weren't seeing the claims and the return as we were originally intending.
Let me just follow up on that. So it wasn't an eligibility issue?
No.
Right. Yeah.
It was not an eligibility issue.
All right.
You want to add anything to this?
In the end, we looked at it, and 16% of our schools claim. That has increased over the last few years with these efforts, but 90% of the funds coming in is directed to one school. So it was very small. As Emily likes to say, the juice wasn't worth the squeeze, but the amount of resources we also had to devote at the district level to even expand the program, we would have to expand ourselves so much, and it was not equitable. There has not been at the school level, they're seeing this because that demand on them was high also.
So I'd like to speak on Medicaid. You can blame me for us even having a Medicaid program, because when I was the school leader at the Meyer Center and we transferred from Greenville School District, who we were not getting proper support from, one of the things that I asked for the district to do was to actually create a Medicaid program. If you might recall, the district had had problems in the past with Medicaid compliance. And so we had to work with the state for the district to get its MPI number back. We did that, and the district invested in staff, and then eventually we were gifted with Dee, and she was able to really transform the program. But as the staff has already said, the return's just not there for the schools. The Meyer Center and Legacy are really the only two schools that we're seeing any kind of returns, and even still, when I talked to William Brown at Legacy, they were getting about $100,000, but he was having to pay a full-time person to generate what they got. And so there was no increase. So there was no money actually going back into the program to support the kids. And that's really a flaw, I think, in the Medicaid program. My challenge to our schools is that they need to do a better job when it comes to the state and federal money they get for kids of poverty and students with disabilities. They get money for the IDEA. They get Title I funds. They get disability and poverty money from the state as well. But what happens is it all gets lumped into the general fund at the school level, and instead invested in that in the individual child. So, again, I think our schools, all of our schools, including our traditional schools, need to do a better job of ensuring that the money follows the child that needs the money. If it's a student of poverty, then they should get more money, because there's more challenges and more supports that are needed, and the same for our students with disabilities. So, a lot of work went into this. I commend Susan and Emily and Dee and the team for working on this. No one wanted to end the program, but our schools all understand, because they see the cost for them and they see the cost for us. My hope is that maybe, Washington will one day get some of this right, and it can, better assist the kids that need the support.
Any further questions? Thank you.
Brad Henry.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. First up, I wanted to give you an update on our outreach and digital media efforts. As you can see, Facebook is by far and away the most popular way we engage with the community. Our views and reach have more than doubled over the course of the year. This is partly due to an intentional focus in sharing all the unique things our schools and kids are up to, with the goal of helping the public and stakeholders better understand how our charter schools stand out from other school options. Secondly, I wanted to give you a brief legislative update on the end of the 2025 session. As mentioned in the financial report, the legislature was contemplating a change to virtual funding. In the end, they succeeded in reducing the virtual weight from 0.5 to 0.65. Along with that, the RFA has commissioned a study committee to take a look at all public school funding. And we as a district and our schools are actively engaged to make sure that the funding follows the child. We will be conducting virtual town halls over the summer with our schools to teach them how they can best advocate for themselves with their local delegations and other decision makers at the State House. Along those lines, lastly, I wanted to update you on the 2025 Leaders Summit. The theme of this year's summit, Good to Great to Best, will focus on how our schools can be powerful advocates for themselves. The summit was originally scheduled for late October, as we shared with you earlier this year, but we thought it was best to move that date to September 9th, right after Labor Day, right after school gets started, so that we can expand on these summer town halls and train our schools how to best be effective at getting legislators and other community stakeholders in their buildings and active participants in the life of the school and their families. You'll all be getting calendar invites for this event. We hope you can all join us. We will be conducting all of this training ourselves, and we look forward to working with our schools to make sure that, as we've said a couple times today, that the dollars are following the child. Mm-hmm. Madam Chair, this concludes my remarks. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any questions? Do you generally think things are moving up as you pursue these things?
I hope so. This was a challenging year, just sort of towards the end of the legislative session when some things kind of rapidly changed. And, the summer is going to be critical for us in making sure that we educate people at the State House exactly how our schools operate, how our schools are funded, how our schools are different than traditional public schools, all the things that we talk about a lot about charter schools. But I think it's very important for them to know that we're a great value for the taxpayer, we're a great value for the state. We provide a much needed service to some of the students we were just talking about that have disabilities, that come from poverty, and we are a worthy option. And we just need to make sure everybody understands that. The general public needs to understand that, but the decision makers really need to understand that.
Yeah, thank you.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Brad, thanks for the report. Question, is there a one-pager that the board members, that maybe we can help in the communication as well, that could spell out some of the things you just shared?
Yes, that's one of the things that we're working on during our advocacy strategy this summer. That would be a great thing. I'd be happy to provide that to y'all so you're kind of armed with that top level information.
Thank you. Madam Chair.
Yes.
Just a quick question. So lots happening on the federal level with funding coming to states and being designated to states. Are we hearing anything about that? Are there any updates about how some of that may be being considered?
Yeah, like you said, there's a lot of things going on. We actually had a meeting with one of the Department of Education's top, I guess, lieutenants a couple of weeks ago, and they're very interested in charter schools. The charter school program, the CSP grant, is actually expanding. Where many things in the Department of Education are getting reduced, one of the good things is that the grant program is expanding, and the Secretary McMahon is planning a tour during the summertime of getting to states and getting to charter schools. We'd love to get them to South Carolina to show the things that we're doing here. I think for our sector, it looks pretty promising, but there will be a lot of change for everybody within the education community.
Sure. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions? I'm sure you were close in on observing anyway negotiations between for funding for the public schools. How do you, what kind of things do you think we could have done different to make our message, strong, or at least see the equity of our message that be seen in the halls of power?
Yeah, certainly there's some lessons learned. I think that the main thing that, looking back at it, a lot of legislators do not have a personal connection with charter schools. The charter schools are just part of this ecosystem of school choice now with the RFA and, I'm sorry, not the RFA, with the voucher bill and homeschool and all the other great options that are out there. So I think that we need to distinguish ourselves and make us unique within school choice. I heard one of the comments in the last couple days of the budget deliberations that school choice was getting funded in a way that it never has before, and they were of course referring to the vouchers, but they were also cutting funding to charter schools. And so I guess it's a net gain at the end of the day for school choice. But charter schools, our challenge is we need to show how we serve the students that come into our buildings, that we provide a needed alternative, and we're a worthy option within the school choice, I'll call it, ecosystem.
Yeah.
Madam Chair, if I may just comment on that. Let me tell you what I heard a lot during that debate that was going on about school choice. And a lot of it was, particularly from policymakers, was that kids and parents who sought to exercise some form of school choice found it easier to just go to a private school and enroll and get a voucher and be done. And I guess my question to you would be, do they seem to put us in the same bucket of the bureaucracy of a traditional public school that's so cumbersome and complex to understand that in some ways for policymakers, it's easier to just say, you know what, write a check, send you to the school?
Yeah, I think there's that's a very keen observation, and I think there is some of that sentiment out there. But I mean, that's again where we need to kind of redouble our efforts and re-educate them about what charter schools are. We pride ourselves in being very good stewards of the taxpayer dollar, making a dollar stretch really far. We have a 2% appropriation for oversight of schools, where some traditional districts have way into the double digits, and that's on us to make sure that everybody's understanding that. I had a conversation with a legislator that had a charter school in their district, and I think a lot of this is just kind of miseducation too.
Sure. Yeah.
They thought that. This is a seasoned legislator that's been around, that knows how it works, and they thought that charter schools were private schools.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so it's a unique time right now, and just that there's another player, there's a new kid on the block, and we gotta make sure that we keep their attention just like they do.
Right. No, thanks for that. I appreciate that.
Sure. Any other interaction? Also, I think that the numbers we have compared to the numbers that the general public school system has, it takes kind of a lot to find us. I mean, we're very much there, but they're not necessarily looking.
Yes.
We have to take our story to them.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
And carry that strong.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So there's always stuff to be done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey.
Hello. To follow up on your comment, there's always stuff to be done. I am going to give you just a brief update on the wrap-up of our FY25 annual plan for our strategic plan, and then a brief highlight of our draft FY26 annual plan. So there is always stuff to be done. We got a ton done this year, but before I move forward, one thing I wanted to do was just recognize John Payne for standing up here and giving you the financials in our third reading of the budget. John is not on the finance team. He was supporting Nick, who is right now at SCASBO taking a big test at the end of a professional development. And John was able to step in as a teammate and do that for him. And I think that highlights just the kind of cross collaboration that we've built this year. It was too late to get it in the board slides, but John R. Payne sent a picture last night of two of our colleagues on completely different teams sitting at a desk together, just in laptops in front of them, diving in really hard. I mean, he took the picture and they didn't even know he was in the room. But to me, that picture also just highlights that cross-collaboration and kind of how we've broken down some silos and really started to see that happen. So that was really exciting, and I just wanted to highlight that because I think that speaks volumes to the work that we've done through the annual plan this year. So the FY25 annual plan, we had 20 goals in there. And we accomplished those. There are 3 that we're going to carry over just for maintenance, and I think these are things that we will always do. So continuing with the board training, making sure that we've got different presenters coming in front of you and making sure that you've got what you need and are honing your skills in board governance. Staff development, that's something that's never going to end. It's just something we're always going to be looking at, and how can we do that better? And then clear and concise communications. If you have an organization that has nailed that on the head, please let me know, but I think that's something that we will always work on. Our FY26 annual plan, we have 11 goals, and they're in some major buckets. So one of them is in succession planning. I think any healthy organization always thinks about what's coming next and how do we make sure that we're in a place where if somebody wins the lottery or gets their next best job, that we're in a good place to pick things up and keep moving. So we're going to be focusing on that next year. Again, communication. So you just had a conversation with Brad about what do we do? How do we get out there and advocate? How do we make our message stand apart from others? And so we're really going to be focusing on that this year. How do we take the PCSD mission and vision and start to kind of stand above the fray and say, here's who we are, here's what we do, here's what you need to know about us. And then finally, sustainable, balanced staff planning. So we are a lean, mean fighting machine, which is great, but we want to make sure that our staff is balanced, that they're sustainable, that the workloads are even. And so we're really going to be looking at that moving forward. So that's kind of a wrap on FY25. Any questions for me?
Any questions?
All right, so in August, I will bring you the final so that you can see those specific goals, but we'll be working on that this summer.
Thank you. Thank you so much. The name that needs no introduction.
Yeah, good afternoon. We're afternoon now. Few things. First of all, I want to thank the staff for supporting Teresa as our Core Values of the Year Award recipient. I think we should give Teresa another round of applause. But we also had a great model for the year in our first ever, and that was Marlene Seller. So let's give Marlene.
Yeah, hey.
Woo! She's going to turn over her crown now, so I'm excited to see who the recipients are for this next year. I appreciate the staff taking this seriously. There's not, I don't think, maybe any district in South Carolina that aligns so perfectly with the mission, vision, and values. And each employee here, including myself, we have to all be aligned to the values in our work. And we're going through evaluations right now. And so everybody is measured based on how we perform with each of our core values. So it's unique in our culture, and I think it's one of the reasons why we see great people want to stay here and why we have great people that want to join our team. So in August, you'll have some new faces that we'll get to present to you that are joining the team, and we're excited about that. Also, I want to thank the board for supporting the cost of living increase for the staff. So staff, let's give the board a round of applause. I mentioned that the district is, going to see a reduction of 1.3 million this year due to the cuts. And so at the same time, as I mentioned, we're also increasing enrollment. So their job is going to increase in terms of responsibility and compliance, yet the district's going to get less money. So, we're going to continue to advocate so that we can properly provide the right level of governance and support and oversight over schools so that they can all strive for their fullest potential as a school on behalf of our kids and families. I also want to thank the board for supporting the increase in Eric's contract. It was well-deserved and overdue. And Eric, we expect great things from you going forward. I want to talk about the funding formula briefly, and then we'll go into my storybook of pictures. I appreciate the board's thoughtful questions on this. It's been a kind of a challenging 4 or 5 months this session. I don't want it to be lost that we did have some good successes and wins. The military child preference bill, it took 2 years, and that's not uncommon for legislation. That was a huge win for families. And it was disappointing that Senator Hembree's accountability bill didn't move anywhere. I'm hopeful that that will come back next year and that we can continue to see increased accountability for charter schools. I actually think that's the difference. We talk about bureaucracy, and there's a lot of ways that we're actually similar to traditional districts and schools. But one of the greatest differences is how we're held accountable. And I think there's no greater example than the way you held a school accountable today, board. And that's unique. You do not see that in other school districts in South Carolina. It's not a point of pride by any means. Families are impacted by this. But if we're going to receive public money, then we have to act like public people and public actors. Which brings me to another point. Yes, we have vouchers now. And yes, that will open the doors of competition. And this is not a criticism of vouchers, because I believe every parent needs to have the best choice for their child. And I've exercised that right in my own family. I will just say, though, that when you talk about bureaucracy and accountability, yes, with the vouchers, there is no bureaucracy. There is no accountability as well. So stay tuned for the headlines. Because as we see in Arizona and other states, when there's no accountability tied, you're going to have situations where money's being abused. I will also say that we have to be better stewards and police ourselves in the charter sector. We can't have authorizers in charter schools taking trips to Europe and other parts of the world. That's not our mission. It's to close the achievement gap here in South Carolina. And we do that through innovation, autonomy, and accountability. And so we've got to do a better job. We've also got to all operate on the same playing field. We are all public authorizers and public schools, not private. There is a market for private schools. But if we don't start policing ourselves, the voucher program is going to continue to thrive and grow. Traditional districts are going to continue to go after the money that we get, and we're going to become less relevant at the State House and for parents. And when we start losing customers, then we start to go out of business. So we've got to do a better job policing ourselves, being held to a higher standard, and being proud of the fact that we actually don't get as much money because the results are there. Look at the state report card. We outperform the state in almost every single metric, yet there's a $7,000 per pupil difference between what they get and what we get. We do more with less, so we should be proud of that. That is a badge of honor. Now, we've got to do better with the less that we get. And unlike private schools, we do open our doors to every child. We do serve every family, but we've got to do a better job of that too. All right, so one of the big ways that we can do better is to be out in the community. And so we're going to be out talking with Rotary clubs, civic organizations in communities about charter schools and helping dispel the myths and talk about the truths. And so I was very honored to be able to go and speak at the Spring Valley Rotary Club recently. And they asked a lot of really good questions. And this is a very vibrant Rotary Club. I know a lot of Rotary clubs and civic organizations are seeing a decline in membership. This one continues to grow. It's over in the northeast part of town, and for those of you that are not from the Columbia area. But we're going to continue to do more of this throughout the summer and into the fall. Recently, we did something that we've never done before. So we had our first ever PCSD Board Summit, and you can see Stan right here presenting. This was for our charter school board members. So we're going to do more of these. John S. Payne led this effort. It was highly successful. And the department is now asking for us to do more of these with them. And in person, by the way. There was no virtual option. They had to be here in person. That's how you build community. That's how you build relationships. And that's how we ensure our board members understand their roles and responsibilities under the Charter Act. Now, every year we have a cookout. And my eyes are still recovering. I had to go to the eye doctor yesterday. The grill that we have produces a lot of smoke, as you can tell. But we cook hot dogs and hamburgers, and I think everybody enjoys the opportunity just to take a break with each other and celebrate the wind down of another school year. And so it's just good to see smiling faces despite the smoke. And I would just say, and we'll do a better job of this, making sure that you all know when we have our cookouts so that y'all can come and join us. Last week, Emily and I participated in the Clemson Summer Educational Leaders Summit up at Clemson University, and it was highly successful. I was invited to serve on a panel and a fireside chat where we talked about resiliency, and it gave us an opportunity to talk about resiliency, what resiliency looks like in our district. And the way I described it was, resiliency is the ability to overcome challenges through teamwork and a strong culture. And I think the culture that we've built here helps build a resilient team, but also resilient individuals. Because we have team members that go through things. We all go through things with family and our health and things like that. And so it helps when you're in an environment, a culture, work culture, where you feel supported and you know you belong. One thing that we want to also continue to do is bring, founders of our charter schools and school leaders together to collaborate. And so last week we had Greg Thompson on the far right. He's the founder of Liberty Steam Charter School. And then William Brown there in the middle with Legacy up in Greenville. And brought them together. They had never met each other. We've got 4 founders, school leaders around the state who just have the resources, the entrepreneurial spirit, and the passion and heart for kids. And I don't think there's a greater example than these 2 gentlemen right here. And they both want to serve in communities where kids are being underserved. And of course the data and all that proves that their model is working. So we brought them together and had just a lovely discussion about each of their schools, their dreams and aspirations. And they believe, like us, and we share this with them, that we've got to do a better job as a sector policing ourselves, as I said earlier. Low-performing schools can't continue to be low-performing schools. We're not doing what's best for kids. They also want to see charter authorizers be held to a higher standard and be more accountable to taxpayers, and ensure that we're being transparent with the resources that we get from the state. So graduation season ends today. Perry is at Carolina Shores today for their graduation, and it's the last one of the season. So 21 graduations in all, and the staff splits up because we can't all be at every one of them because they occur over about a 3-week period, and many of them on the same night. But it was great to just celebrate with all of these scholars and students and these communities. You know, we had graduates that are going right into the military, and we saluted them in their ceremony. We had graduates going right into the workforce, some of which already own and run companies.
That's cool.
We've got graduates that graduated with 90 credits for college. 90. They're going to start college as a senior. I went to college with no credits. Some might question the ones I have. But I'll just say that it was just wonderful to see these families. We had graduates come across the stage with their children. These were teenagers that wanted to celebrate that special moment with their babies. I don't think there's a better example of what we stand for and what our culture is all about than when you've got a student who's committed to stick through it and bring their child to graduation, and the difference that's going to make in that child's life as well. Here's just some more of our graduation pictures from around the state. The top right photo, those two students from Carolus are both going into the military. And I had both of them. There were three of them actually. One of them had already left, but I had them stand up and be recognized. And we do that at every ceremony. Here's just some more graduation pictures. You can see Perry and John being silly. And it's just wonderful to be able to see these graduates. I'm actually really optimistic about this class. They are different than what we've seen the last 4 years. I don't know if we're starting to see a split in that generation, but this class of students, they just are more ambitious. They know what they want to do, and they just seem to they want to strive for more. I think the previous graduates seem to still be kind of struggling coming out of COVID, and I hope those kids are doing okay. Again, more graduation pictures here. It really is a great way to celebrate and end the school year. Here's some more here. You got Fox Creek and Legacy. Palmetto Scholars, Polaris. Meyer Center, you know they have their graduation every year. And then Greer Middle College. Midlands Middle College. That's me saluting a student who's going into the military. I had him stand up and I saluted him. We got Bridges Preparatory, top right. And then, of course, you can see the student saying she's going to nursing school. Very intentional. They know what they want to do. You got PD Math and Science and Technology. And Dr. Keith Bailey. Love that graduation. I'm glad John and Dawn were able to go. They always have 100% of their graduates go to college. In Lee County, South Carolina, guys. One of the poorest counties in the state. And then there's Learn for Life. And I should have brought my bell. They presented me with the bell during the ceremony after I gave the commencement address. And, of course, I don't like being recognized. But I did take the mic one more time after I got the bell. And I looked at the graduates and I said, I don't know if you know the movie It's a Wonderful Life, but at the very end, if y'all remember, there's the scene where the little girl says, Mommy, teacher says every time a bell rings, an angel gets its wing. And I looked at the graduate and said, today you just earned your wings. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think that's what this is all about, is celebrating their future. S.C. Whitmore, who we recognized earlier, you see Marlene there. And then Low Country Acceleration Academy, and then I mentioned that Carolina Shores is today, and Perry's representing the district there. And then here's another picture right here. Well, I was told Carolina Shores was today.
They are. I just wanted to.
Oh, okay. I'm like, wow, it came in quickly. So, but anyway, just appreciate them. And then I love this. I think that's a great photo picture right there. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, pending any questions from members of the board, that's the end of my report.
Any questions, comments?
Great.
Nope. Thank you, Chris. Thank you for the life you live and the leadership you have in this team. So with that being said, do we have a motion to dismiss?
So moved. Second.
Second. Thank you all. Thank you.
Lunch is served, and today we have fried chicken.
What did he say? What did he say?